Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood Pants is back with another Summoners War video. Today we are looking at Monster Subjugation, now with the no dupes allowed rule that they supposedly intended at the beginning, but they did not implement for whatever reason. At any rate, I'll show you what teams I used to accomplish Wave 20 on all three elements, and then what I used on the water boss to complete Phase 7. And I'll also show you some teams that my guildmates used to accomplish the same thing. There's some variability. Some of it they use just OP units that nobody owns, like Hurtite or the Light Demon or whatever, but for the most part, I think a lot of us use the same kind of strategy. So just briefly, I'll show you some of my runes. This is my Fat Lucian set that I moved onto Tesher because really this entire area of the game is just a rune check. It's just, do you have enough damage to do it? And then on top of that is just slight RNG in terms of, are your monsters using the right skills at the right time? So sometimes, I mean, I'll say all the time, pretty much everyone in my guild that accomplished all 20 waves and Phase 7 of the boss, it took them a handful of tries. You know, it wasn't just like first try automatic. Maybe it was sometimes, but there's some aspect of RNG. You know, there's plus or minus 5% damage just because that's how Summoner's War is. Every skill plus or minus 5% damage. Otherwise, you'd see Lucian and Skogul always do the same amount of damage, and they don't. It varies. Not just because of artifacts, but just because RNG. Anyways, why I moved Fat Lucian runes onto Tesher, even though I'm like using Tesher and Lucian together, is because Lucian ignores defense and Tesher doesn't. And I really need Tesher to get the kill on whatever he hits because that's what's keeping his passive doing the AoE hit. If he ever takes a turn where he doesn't get a kill on something, then you're going to be losing out on AoE, and the AoE is really important for these waves. So that's why I gave him the better rage set, and I put like a fatal shield set that's okay on my Lucian. Similarly, for like the fire stage, I would move that same Fat Lucian set onto the water homunculus. For the water stage, this was my water homunculus runes, this double blade broken violent set. Nothing special really, it's just high crit rate, some decent attack, some decent crit damage. It's not the best, but I don't have a lot of good rage sets. I got the one and I move it around a bunch, and that's it. Here's that fatal shield set that I was talking about on my Lucian, not max crit rate. Another thing I'd point out is the Tesher I'm using, not max skilled. I don't have max skill ups in my Tesher, and still managed to get all 20 waves. So again, I'm just moving these three sets around onto a handful of units depending on what element I'm hitting on the time at the time. So it cost me some mana, but it works. As far as the actual team goes, you can see for the fire team, I'm using Kreisvelg as the lead for both giving an attack lead and also giving an attack buff to the team, alongside Rauk and Ikaru, because I mean, we all saw how well Ikaru worked. No reason why one Ikaru won't work pretty well as well. Rauk similarly is teaming up with two people, which is convenient on occasion. Plus, whenever he kills, he gets additional turns to get more team ups, which is really nice, especially if he can like reset the cooldown of Kreisvelg to get the attack buff back up. But really, you want to team up with at least a star or the water homunculus at one point in time because it's their skill ones that do the AoE hit. So having both of their skill ones is what'll clear wave really quickly. I think this was the quickest one, and I think the fire stage for me was the easiest one, in particular because I have a really good damage dealt on fire artifact for my water homunculus, so he's just smacking really, really hard. Not to mention the team itself it's pretty good. So this one was the easiest one for me, at least. The other two took me a handful more tries, but still managed to get it. So very similarly on this win stage, we're using the Kreisvelg leader. I think there's no one really better than Kreisvelg. His AI is garbage. You can see I'm here on wave 4 and still no attack buff, which is unfortunate because, you know, these early waves, if he uses AoE attack, will for sure just kill the wave and, you know, prepare everyone with an attack buff. So that's really nice. Here we are on wave 8 and we finally get the attack buff. So that's a little bit annoying, and why often it'll take you multiple tries to accomplish the 20th wave. At any rate, very similar team. We're using the Tesher instead of Ikaru. Other than that, it's basically the same. And main reason for Tesher rather than Ikaru is just more damage because Ikaru's not dealing that much damage. We want another AoE. I guess we also have Lucian instead of the water homunculus. So that's the two monsters that got changed out. And then of course, like I said, the rune sets. So the Fat Lucian runes would have gone from the water homunculus to the Tesher, and then the probably the fatal shield is on the Lucian, and then that double blade violent is on the Astar, just cause something along those lines. And then I'd move my artifacts around too, so it'd be damage damage dealt on wind on as many people as I can, and then maybe a little bit of co-op damage, something like that. Whatever I can find that deals a little more damage, because we want to, you need a bunch of damage. That's what this area of the game is. It's just a damage check. And then lastly, for the water one, again, the Hraesvelg leader, the Tesher and Lucian combination, and now the Water Homunculus and Akaru, so not using the Rauk and not using a star. It's usually just a couple units that get changed around in each of these teams to accomplish all 20 waves. So next I'll just show some teams that my guild used to accomplish the same thing. So you can see Mac here, he completed phase 7 and wave 20. The teams he used, very similar. He used Lapis instead of the Water Homunculus, which is a great one to use, especially if you have your Homunculus built fire or wind for some other purpose. I use my water one as a farmer for my rep monster or whatever. He doesn't really see much use other than that. I think you probably can use him in TOA or something along those lines, but very similar teams with the Rauk Akaru combination with AoE damage dealers. And then for his King Slime, he's using 3 twins, Riley and Lucifer, so very free to play. And then Mystery Hunt, fellow YouTuber, also completed phase 7 of the Water Slime using the same team that I used, the Hraesvelg, Yend, Riley, and Water Twins, which I actually got from Spoon. Spoon is the one who suggested we use the same team to complete phase 7. Tad here used a very similar team. It seems like double water, Hraesvelg, Riley, plus some wind damage doer can probably do it. So maybe like the wind twin, one of the wind twins here could work, or I don't know, Orochi, the wind vampire, some kind of heavy hitting wind damage doer is probably what you want here in order to get a mostly free to play water boss 7 floor clear team. So Eevee here used different teams using the Water Polar Queen for the water stage. Over here, again, the Water Polar Queen, no Lapis, just using, or no Astar, using Lapis instead. And then again, no Astar, using the Fire Demon, which is kind of unique, and Tesher on the Wind Wave. And then for the boss stage, another free-to-play friendly Hertite in with the double water twins, Hraesvelg and Riley team. All right, so on to the water boss. You can see I have this Hraesvelg, water twins, Riley plus Yen team. Hraesvelg is on my solo R5 garbage runes. It's got a accuracy set, 1 fight set, nothing too special. I think the entire team just has that 1 fight set. Yeah, it's not super fight heavy. It's just my rage sets. I have my Fat Lucian runes on the Talia, and then a secondary, not nearly as good rage set on the Yen, and then my typical vampire will set on Sabrina that I use for PvP, like in Siege against Martina Shayna and that sort of thing. Riley again is on my PvP set, just Violent Revenge. I do think Revenge is pretty nice because I don't think Revenge does anything to tick up his counter, like his turn counter. So Revenge is probably good sets to have. I don't know, probably Fight is better because it's, guaranteed more stats, whereas Revenge is like a % chance to get some more damage in. But at any rate, that's just me thinking off the top of my head. The main strategy with this is I feel like you can auto it up until like phase 6 or phase 7, because once you're at phase 7, like in order to actually kill the boss, you need to make sure people move, and the boss moves very quickly. It does this AoE glancing, stun, slow kind of nonsense. If that makes it to where even just 1 or 2 of your people aren't moving, that's a problem. So that's the main reason why we use Riley, is she's got 2 skills with AoE immunity. You want to make sure that immunity is up just constantly. If you get caught without the immunity, it's likely you're going to have people stunned or people with glancing, and you're not going to get enough damage to kill them at phase 7. So that's the main little tidbit I'd throw at you, is just unpause the game once you're at like phase 6, in the middle of phase 6 or something, and manual it out from there to make sure that Riley is keeping immunity up on people, not wasting it unnecessarily. Just pay attention to the boss's attack bar and your own attack bar, and from there, just like the other ways, it'll probably be some RNG with your damage and that sort of thing, and just the way the skills align. Maybe you could pay attention to your speed and re-rune and do that kind of thing if you really want to be try hard, but I want to do that, I would just take 3 or 4 tries to make it happen. That's what I did do, is I just took a handful of tries and made it happen. That's it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.